Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Welcome to this dynamic and heartfelt summary of Romeo and Juliet, William Shakespeare's timeless tale of love, fate, and tragedy. Written in the late 16th century, Romeo and Juliet is one of the world's most famous plays, a story that captures the passion of young love and the devastating consequences of hatred and misunderstanding. Set in the Italian city of Verona, this play is an emotional rollercoaster of romance, rivalry, and heartbreak. Let's journey into this iconic story, where love blooms in the shadow of conflict, and where hope and despair collide in an unforgettable narrative. Act 1. Love in the midst of feud. The play begins with a clash between two feuding noble families, the Montagues and the Capulets. The hatred between them runs so deep that even their servants quarrel in the streets of Verona. Prince Aeschylus, the ruler of Verona, intervenes and declares that anyone who disturbs the peace again will face death. Meanwhile, young Romeo Montague is lovesick over Rosaline, a woman who does not return his affections. His friends, Benvolio and Mercutio, encourage him to move on and attend the Capulet masquerade ball in disguise. They hope the festivities will lift his spirits. At the Capulet ball, Romeo's life takes a fateful turn. He locks eyes with Juliet, the daughter of his family's sworn enemy, and they are instantly smitten. Their love is immediate and powerful, transcending the hatred that surrounds them. Unaware of each other's identities at first, they soon learn the truth, but their love only deepens. Act 2. The secret bond. Determined to be together despite the odds, Romeo sneaks into the Capulet orchard that night to see Juliet. In the famous balcony scene, they confess their love and vow to marry in secret. Their youthful passion and optimism shine brightly against the dark backdrop of their family's enmity. The next day, with the help of Friar Lawrence, a wise and kind priest, Romeo and Juliet are secretly married. Friar Lawrence hopes their union will reconcile the feuding families and bring peace to Verona. Juliet's nurse, a trusted confidant, assists in arranging the wedding, adding moments of humor and warmth to the story. For a brief moment, their love seems unstoppable, a beacon of hope amid the chaos. Act 3. Tragedy strikes. The fragile peace is shattered when Tybalt, Juliet's fiery cousin, confronts Romeo. Tybalt is furious that Romeo crashed the Capulet ball and demands a duel. Romeo, now Tybalt's kinsman by marriage, refuses to fight. Mercutio, ever hot-headed, takes up the challenge in Romeo's place. Tragedy strikes when Tybalt kills Mercutio in the ensuing duel. Overcome with rage and grief, Romeo avenges his friend's death by killing Tybalt. This act of vengeance turns Romeo from a lover to an outlaw. The prince banishes Romeo from Verona, declaring that he will be executed if he returns. Devastated, Romeo hides with Friar Lawrence, while Juliet is left heartbroken by the double loss of her cousin and her husband. Their love is now burdened by separation and despair. Act 4. A desperate plan. As Romeo hides in Mantua, Juliet faces a new crisis. Her parents, unaware of her secret marriage, arrange for her to marry Paris, a wealthy nobleman. Desperate to avoid betraying Romeo, Juliet seeks help from Friar Lawrence. The friar devises a risky plan. Juliet will drink a potion that will make her appear dead for 42 hours. She will be placed in the Capulet family tomb, and once she awakens, Romeo will rescue her, and they can flee together. Juliet agrees, placing her trust in the friar's scheme. On the night before her wedding to Paris, Juliet drinks the potion. When her family discovers her lifeless body the next morning, they are consumed with grief, believing she has died. Act V. Love and Death. The plan goes tragically awry when Romeo learns of Juliet's death from a messenger, but does not receive the friar's letter explaining the truth. Believing Juliet is truly dead, Romeo returns to Verona with a vial of poison, determined to join her in death. At the Capulet tomb, Romeo encounters Paris, who has come to mourn Juliet. They fight, and Romeo kills Paris. Inside the tomb, Romeo gazes upon Juliet's lifeless form, and, overcome by sorrow, drinks the poison and dies by her side. Moments later, Juliet awakens to find Romeo dead. Heartbroken, she refuses to live without him. Using Romeo's dagger, she takes her own life, sealing their tragic fate. The deaths of Romeo and Juliet finally bring the Montagues and Capulets to their senses. Overwhelmed by guilt and grief, the families reconcile, vowing to end their feud and honor the memory of their children. Themes and reflections. Romeo and Juliet is a timeless exploration of love, conflict, and fate. Shakespeare masterfully weaves themes that resonate across generations. Love and sacrifice. The love between Romeo and Juliet is pure and selfless, yet their devotion leads to their ultimate sacrifice. Fate and free will. The play raises questions about destiny and whether the lovers' tragic end was inevitable or shaped by their choices. Family and feud. The destructive power of hatred and the toll it takes on innocent lives are central to the story's tragedy. Youth and passion. Romeo and Juliet's youthful intensity highlights both the beauty and recklessness of young love. Conclusion. Romeo and Juliet is a heart-wrenching tale that continues to captivate audiences with its poetic beauty and emotional depth. Shakespeare's exploration of love and tragedy reminds us of the preciousness of life and the senselessness of hatred. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Romeo and Juliet. This iconic story remains a testament to the enduring power of love, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds.